Standing on the top now. No, nothing can move you.
We need to start building an aggressive movement to rein in these two parties through black power, black political structure that's not tied into anybody but the streets. And this is the whole point of this video also. Last video we talked about how Obama don't understand why things are the way it is. And I go into a little bit why things are the way they are when it comes to black support in the Democratic Party starting to dwindle. Doesn't mean that it's going to be a huge uptick for the Republican Party, but black support is beginning to dwindle, and you got to blame the fault on Barack Obama. You can't blame the fault on the people, because had Barack did what he needed to do for the people who put him in there, gave him that power, gave him the first black presidency, because if it wasn't for us, he wouldn't have been there. It's not about him. It's about us. Good character-wise, visualize. We bought into it, but still at the end of the day, we empowered you. A lot of us voted for you just because you were black. Big mistake. But we gave you that shot because of you're black. We're hoping that you're going to do something for black people. And he dropped the ball. First 2 years, he had the majority and he looked out for everybody but black. And that is your problem, Obama. You did not do what you needed to do or were supposed to do your first 2 years. And then nobody wanted to talk about that, reassess, and recognize you're mistaken, fix it the next 2 years. In the next 4 years, and then trying to see if Hillary Clinton going to do it, and we knew she wasn't going to do it anyway. That's why she didn't get our support like you wished she got. And we know Trump wasn't promising too much, but he did have some things that he wanted to do just for the black community. Now, whether he popped off or not, whether it hit his capacity or got a good start, that's not the point. The point is he did have a plan, and he did try to implement those plans, and all we had was Democrats want to be partisan and sabotage those plans instead of trying to figure out how they can join in. But they didn't want Donald Trump to give the Republicans a good look. And so they'll sabotage it. And like I said, I don't know if it was all that robust anyway, but at least he had one, and we knew the Democrats were going to sabotage it, like they're going to do if Trump won again. Anything that Trump tried to do for people, they're going to sabotage it because it's about partisan positions and parties instead of the people. And this is the reason why we're being distasteful when it comes to politicians in general on both the left and right, because you're supposed to represent the people. You're supposed to do for the people, not for yourself, but for the people. Now we're going to get into the continuing of this particular segment where we go through the numbers of why black support is dying in the Democratic Party. So CNN panel got together and they talked about Obama's message toward black men, and this was a spark debate. Now, I don't know how this pretty lady got a show. I don't even know her, but this is her show. And she tries her best to moderate it, but sometimes we got to ignore her.
He's talking about black men in particular and singling them out in this way.
Yeah. Let's start from here. He is still the greatest living retail politician. He's objectively a top 15 president, but even he can swing and miss sometimes. And here he swung and missed. Here's what he did. Harris has been very strategic about when and how she's spoken about gender and race, and he stepped on that. And when she hasn't spoke, he stepped on that message. And I think also
he didn't step on the message about none of that, gender and race. He stepped on she ain't got no message for black men, so he ain't stepped on nothing concerning her. He stepped on himself.
With those comments, and there's more to this, but let me just start with this, is that he forgets, at least in that moment, that she doesn't get the benefit of being a historic first the way he did. She's a historic first woman if she wins.
Maybe that's part of the problem, that's what he's saying. Why doesn't she get the benefit?
Well, first of all, we have to remember.
Because we've grown past the age of being the first. The American people wants to be the first to get some things done for them. It's never been really about, it's about, black people were clamoring to get the first black president. We always dreamed the first black president, stuff like that. But when we finally got it, we realized it wasn't enough. It's just like Martin Luther King, who fought for civil rights, got us our civil rights, but he realized that he got us in a position where we still really ain't got much. I mean, he's led us into a burning fire, a house that's on fire. And we need more help than just civil rights. Economic rights was the next agenda because we were still struggling even under the guise of segregation and getting rid of segregation.
That this thing, like Barack Obama has a history of kind of chastising specifically black men. And like the question is whether what he said is relevant, right? Because there are a few black men, like there are a few white men who are more conservative than black women, and more white men are conservative than white. But the point is, does this work, right? And there's no evidence.
It never works. Roland Martin does it all the time. Scarlet ain't never gonna get somebody on your side.
That is true or that it works. And he doesn't do that with, like, you've never heard him say, why don't white women stop being racist and vote for me or Kamala Harris, or they don't talk to Hispanic voters or LGBTQ voters. It's only specifically black men that he takes this tact that doesn't work.
Why do you think that
because you know why.
No,
because
you know why, lady. Why do you think that? First of all, you're a man just like me. You're not my blood. You're not my lineage. Who the hell are you to talk to me like that? But if I cuss you out or fuss you out, they'd be ready to fuss. You're ready to get somebody to arrest me, saying I was being violent with my words. AOC.
The second most loyal, the most progressive group of men on the planet, they don't care about. They assume that they have their vote and they don't have to do anything for it. And the point of this is that if you don't vote for Kamala Harris and you're black, something must be wrong with you. That is the subtext of everything that they're saying.
Facts.
Well, this is what I would say to this.
Now, me and this brother really will never see eye to eye. But we show seeing eyeball to eyeball, eye socket to eye socket on this issue because he's telling the truth. You got to be more open and tenderhearted and concerning and listening and consulting and consoling and writing down and going forward with that. Okay, this is it. This is why. Okay, we can fix it. All right, I didn't know. See, a lot of times, if you don't sit down, like when your wife is telling you, I need to talk to you, like Dave Chappelle say, usually when she said, Dave, I need to talk to you, it ain't about her. It's going to be about you. When it really is about her too. But she ain't going to talk about that. That's why when you come to the table, you got to be willing to open to each other. Don't hold nothing back. Put it all on the table. And Barack Obama wants to scowl instead of listen.
Because I was there, the NABJ interviewed Kamala Harris in Philadelphia, and what Kamala Harris said then was that you asked that question with the assumption that black men are in somebody's pocket. You can't make that assumption. Black men are just like any other group. They have their interests, and I'm working to get their vote. I don't expect to get it because I am black. I am working to get their vote, and that is what she said.
She never said I expect to get it because she's black. You know why she never said it? Black. She can cosplay all she want. Y'all can buy it. Now, do that mean she can't be a great president? And her record pretty much said what you done in the past, what you did. Well, I don't know how that phrase goes. What you do today determine what you're going to do in the future, or what you done in the past can relegate to what you're going to do in the future. Her past is crap, trash, which means if we vote her in, 9 times 10, the next 4 years going to be trash.
And so I think we have to focus on what she said about black men. And I think we also have to focus on the fact that most black men are going to vote for Kamala Harris anyway. That is the reality. But I think that in talking to black people every day, which I do as a radio host,
most black people will vote for her. You know why? Because they've been sold that she's black. That's why. No other way, because surely ain't her policies, because most people don't know her record in California, and most people don't want to, because they're afraid of the truth. They can't handle the truth.
I've heard some black men say, I'm not voting for her because she is a woman. I have heard that, and I think that is reprehensible.
Okay.
People are allowed to vote, because some people believe that a woman can't lead like a man. But my brother, you ain't hardly hear nobody say that. Ain't nobody really saying that. 9 times 10, they bosses probably. Now if that boss is yacht, maybe they would say something like that. But no, you know. Come on, brother, come on. That's a few. That's up there with rape cases. The amount of rape cases, rape to abortion cases, it's happening. It's sad, but it's low. A man saying I'm not voting for her because she's a woman. That's sad, but it's low.
Okay, so he's heard it. I mean, are we, when I say we, I mean the collective we as the country, afraid to just talk about a thing?
I think
is
you can
Obama
talk
saying,
about it, but if you
calling
summon
a thing
Barack
a thing?
Obama to fix a problem, you have to wonder if this fixes a problem. If I and I am interested in getting Kamala Harris.
Now, let me say this, especially to this brother. I don't know who this brother is, but kind of a little suspect. Look at that head, a little suspect. Brother, you're not going to spin this right behind Barack Obama. Most people are not voting for her because of her genitalia, her being a woman. Now, I do get scared because some women get a little over emotional, but that's not the reason why I'm voting. We're not voting for her because of her record. You don't vote for somebody based on emotions anyway. You vote for them based on their record. I don't care if they're brash and got a big mouth. What your record look like? Most of us got big mouth bosses, arrogant bosses. But hey, as long as you don't stay off my back, stop breathing down my neck, and get me that check, everything gonna be all right with me.
Elected, then I am upset because hurt the strategy that she was employing to win.
Well, I think part of what has to happen, though, is that you have to have that conversation in private. There are some things you talk about in the barbershop when there's no cameras, right? There's some things that you talk about at home. There's some things that are family business, and I think the mistake that Barack Obama made was to take family business.
I didn't have a problem.
Let me let Coleman in there.
Shaming voters is a...
No, the mistake Barack Obama, I mean, he got a right to address, ask why. What's the reason why these numbers are up? Do like the polling aggregator do, and just say, hey, what would be the reasons why, if you didn't vote for Kamala Harris, what would be the reason why you not gonna vote for her? Go and let people tell you why. And don't call people who's gonna give you the answer that you're looking for to validate or to continue to back up the message that they're doing it because she's a woman. Ask them honestly, why are you not supporting the Democratic Party for the election? Even take her name out of it. Why are you not supporting the presidential ticket? What reason why? Is there somewhere where we are not doing nothing right as Democrats? And let them list it and take it on the chin or take it in the chest. Okay.
Terrible idea. It was bad when Hillary Clinton did it with deplorables. It was bad when Mitt Romney did it on the eve of the election. Even if there's a grain of truth to it and there's the occasional radio caller that's going to admit to that sentiment, let's actually look at the fact that Biden was struggling with black voters, and that was a topic of conversation over and over again. So it's not about sexism.
Hold on one second. Let me take a look at this. Let's take a look at the numbers, because I think just to see what we're talking about here. There's been a progressive decline in overall support among black men and, to a lesser degree, black women for the Democratic nominee.
Now, before she goes into this, let's talk about this chart. Choice for president. Look at this. Pew poll. Pew poll very rarely talk to young black men, young black women, especially from the street. There's usually going to be some person that's probably in college, when it's more us than them. Choice for president for Democratic candidate versus Republican candidate. Obama, 79% of the men, 93% of women, 2012. Now, men were in the high 90 at that first election of Obama. We were in the high 90. Why did we dip to 79 and the women stayed in the high 90s in 2012? Barack Obama had all the power, House, Senate, and the pen. No legislation for black people. Men are straightforward thinkers. Men are no BSers. When it comes to our kids, or come to our family, and come to our communities, we have to be the warriors. We have to be the leaders. We have to be the one that go out. You're not dealing with lions here, where the female go out and do all the work and the man just get to eat off it. No, we're not like that. Men go out. So when we see things that are not kosher, or we see things that are not right, we gonna deal with it. And one of the ways we're gonna deal with it is at the poll, at the voting booth. Bruh, we put you in office because we thought you were one of us. We gave you that power because we thought the first 2 years you was going to go all out on the black side. I forgot that black side was not foundational black American, and having went through the struggles that we went through, that black side of you came from Kenya and came over here and got a highly educated education and became a scholar. And that blood is in you, and that's what you went through. But for your struggle, black struggle in this country, you never went through it. You never went through it. So for the men who had to deal with that all their life, struggling to maintain their status as the leaders, as the foundation, as the matriarch, when it comes to black families, we're gonna do something a little different. Now the women usually they'll catch up with us later on. When we say 79%, it doesn't mean we're leaving. It means we're leading. It doesn't mean we're leaving. It means we're leading. We're always going to lead when we don't see things right. We got to go make things right first. The women can sit at home, do their thing, but we expect them to catch up sooner or later. When we see that the party ain't doing what they're supposed to do, it's time to chastise. Hillary Clinton 2016 dipped even lower. You start denigrating our babies now. You start calling my son super predator. You calling me a super predator. I see how you doing my black brother. You're getting mad at him and assaulting him because he come up with a medical plan that's better than yours. I see how you rock. You're arrogant. You're entitled, and you're sitting up there talking about I'm winning. Nah, 69%. You insulted the black community, and it was your husband. You and your husband came up, and you were a cheerleader. You were the P.T. Bottom Bailey of the crime bill that harmed my community. Of course, you're not going to get 93%. You lucky you got 69. Now here come Biden. Now you're starting to see that the women starting to see what the men seeing. So when it came to Obama in 2012, 93, Clinton dipped down 3 points. They still wanted to rock with Clinton, but some women saying, man, forget that lady. I'm not. Very few. She insulted the black community, and she was in charge of, she led the effort in getting this crime bill that decimated my people in my community. 2020, the man who actually wrote the crime bill said, hey, look, there's the greatest piece of legislation. You know, I work with some of the greatest, biggest of all time, Strom Thurmond, James Eastland, and all of them. You know, they call me son. They probably call Barack Obama, boy, come here, boy. But they call me son. They love me. They're dear to me. We got stuff done. Horrible stuff for the black people, but we got stuff done. So black men jumped from 79 to 60%. Black women starting to follow the lead, 81%. See, these are things they're not going to say in this panel. Now here we are, 52 men, 77 women. Women have gone from 93% to 77%, so they are slowly leaving the Democratic Party based on the deny and neglect policies and based on the fact that this party have a history of attacking black people, yet they want to always talk about the Republicans. And I'm saying, and I'm like, look, you can talk about them, but you ain't got no room to really talk about them because you done worse thing than they done to the black community. I mean, nasty words and how you talk to us ain't as bad as actually taking a knife and stabbing me. Get you smiling in my face, saying, hey, I love you, I got your back. I don't want, that is a sick relationship. 52%. Why is black men at 52 plus 52 with Kamala Harris? Because she took the Clinton and the Biden crime bill and she became a prosecutor. She became a DA and a state attorney general, and she implement policies to go after, to be condescending toward the black community. She on purpose became an antagonist to majority of the black community. Majority. That's why she had 52% and 77%. It ain't got nothing to do with her being a woman. Hillary Clinton could have won in a landslide if she wasn't involved with that crime bill and the down talking black people, down talking black matters, down talk that little girl who came up to her fundraising event, and she was trying to, risk her life going to a private event, and she went in there, young girl, and started protesting, and Hillary Clinton telling her to basically shut up.
So I think we've got we've got somebody saying here, we have to bring them
apologize for mass incarceration.
Okay, we'll talk
I'm
about
not a super predator, Hillary Clinton.
Okay, fine, we'll talk about it.
Apologize to black people for mass incarceration.
Well, can I talk, and then maybe you can listen to what I say? Okay, fine. Thank you very much. There's a lot of issues in this campaign. The very first speech that I gave back in April was about criminal justice reform and about
predators.
You're being rude. It's not appropriate.
Predators.
This is not appropriate.
That's rude.
Now, you want to hear the facts, you just want to talk.
I know that you called black youth super predators in 1994. Please explain the record. Explain it to us. You owe black people an apology.
Well,
excuse us. That's an inappropriate.
Tell you what, if you will give me a chance to talk, I'll approach your side. You know what? Nobody's ever asked me before. You're the first person to ask me, and I'm happy to address it, but you are the first person to ask me here. Okay, back to the issues. The issues that...
See, black men see before they see. That's what you call a seer. We're visionaries. We can see what's down the road. We'll go back and tell the black woman, and the black woman may think we crazy, but then all of a sudden they'll start to see too. Now together they see, and now together they're saying peace. Now let's see what this panel gonna say. I'm gonna let it play a little long, and then I'm almost done.
Biden was doing better among black men than Harris appears to be right now, based on some of the better polling that looks at these demographics. So I guess the other part of this...
Again, they're not going to go with what I went through, which is reality.
...is you're talking about keep the business private. You're saying he's messing up the strategy, but the numbers are the numbers, and he's trying to fix a numerical problem that she has, a math problem that she has.
Right. I agree with most of what you were saying, Solomon. I don't think the problem is that he spoke it out loud. I think the problem is that he singled out black men. In other words, there is a sexism component to this race. There was a sexism component to the Hillary Clinton-Donald Trump race. Right, if Trump wins...
And he's being sexist toward black men. To blame black men for the reason why a woman don't get elected would be sexist itself. But they're not going to talk about sexism toward black men. It's always sexism. You're sexist. If you don't support this lady, you're being sexist toward me because you're assuming this is why I'm not supporting her. Now that is sexism to the ultimate.
He will have only ever beaten women. I can't give you a number, but sexism is in the mix here. But it's not black men specifically. I think it's men, not black men. And that, I think, is part of where Obama...
I think we also have to look at numbers and actual statistics, right? Because all of those reliable polling has a small demographic of black men. You're talking about most of them poll at most 40, 50 black men, right?
Told you and he's actually right, and it's normally not that. Usually 10, brother. 10 from different age groups.
Well, I don't think in this particular case, just to be clear about what we were looking at there, the exit polls were from the actual elections that we had, and then the Pew polling, Pew looks more closely at specific demographics, and they do that in a way that we, as a news organization, deem to be a reliable way of looking at this. Not every poll is reliable, but we think this one is.
And when you remember now, we had the same conversation 2 years ago about Stacey Abrams. Why won't black men support Stacey Abrams? And after the election was over, we saw the numbers, and black men in Georgia, where I live, supported Stacey Abrams at higher rates than they supported Biden. So we have this narrative, and then you have the truth, and you have this conjecture and
but the candidates are speaking with their actions. Kamala Harris down with Charlotte the God to talk to.
Who the hell cares? Well, they're finally that you just discount what that brother said. At the end of the day, we still the ones putting up the numbers. We're the one putting the ball in the basket. Women putting them up. We're putting them up. We're putting them up together. But we're about to boycott because we're doing all this work on the field, but we're not getting paid for it. And you can have the star player sit with Brian Gumbel and have an interview. But it still don't change the fact that we're being neglected on the basketball field. And sooner or later, we're going to walk off and have a strike.
Black men. They're being explicit about it.
And she should.
Right. So let me play for you what happened on Charlamagne's show yesterday.
Charlamagne don't represent black people. He's one black person with one idea, one vote, and his own philosophy. You know, he's a little compromised himself. He claimed to be an independent, but he's always shilling for Democrats. That's impossible. You know, you gotta get on both, and sometimes you gotta get on you. You know, but he's all out for the Democrat. He ain't gonna have too many Republicans that he's talking with. Most of them gonna be Democrats.
When they were talking about a call that they'd received from a black man in Florida, this was kind of in the context of the storms, but they played the call list.
It don't matter what they is, Democrat, Republican, they all about money, bro. None of these people care about American people, bro. This shit hurt, bro. People wake up every day just want to live their life, bro. And you got these greedy snakes, man.
Don't sound like it's about a woman. These brothers are hurting out here. Real issues, real pain, real neglect, real abuse is going on. And this is why people are not supporting. And this is why people looking toward the right, because, hey, I'll give them a chance. I don't understand the philosophy of leaving one black plantation going to another plantation. But hey, if you can make yourself a free man and you got free papers and nobody can take it away from you, yet you can go say, hey, I can provide amount of service to this field, but we got to do a partnership. Ain't none of that slave stuff. I don't even want to be a sharecropper. I'll be your manager. I'll move this stuff on the field, and I'll even manage your team here. We're not going to call them slaves. We're going to call them teams. We're going to manage. We ain't going to be doing no neglecting them, beating them, and none of that stuff. We're going to pay them, give them a fair wage. I'm going to make you some money. I want a cut. I want a certain percentage. And I want you to pay these people too. Other than that, I might ask them all to leave. What you going to do?
Call themselves government service people, bro. And they don't give a damn.
And the thing about that call was that, you know, they said it's kind of representative of what they hear often on that show, which is why she's going.
Well, I think that you have people who are angry. I think that you have people who are planted. I think that you have people who are sent to troll. I think that you have people who are sent with a specific message to deliver to black people. And you see it online. I hear it on the radio. I see it on social media. I see it on our Facebook feed as we're doing our show. And so I think some of that is real, and I think some of it is manufactured. I think some of it is.
Why would you think you should say, I think majority of that real. You should always lean on the real, and you sit there and say, I think that's probably manufactured. Dude, assume it's true before you start saying it's fake.
It's performative, but I do think that there are black men at two ends of the spectrum. There's the old black man that's gonna say, well, I'm not gonna vote for a woman because the Bible says men should be in charge, right? There's that guy. But then there's
not that many people saying it. Even the old, not that many saying. You seeing this? Well, anyway.
The young black man who only gets his news from social media and nowhere else. And so he's not watching us, he's not listening, he's not.
Why should anybody listen to y'all? CNN has become the crying news network, the crying Negro network, because all we see is a bunch of Negro crying up there, a bunch of simps crying. People who you think would be a heterosexual male, strong black man, Van Jones, crying. Bakari Sellout, crying. Who want to listen to y'all when most of the time y'all lie? And news online is just as credible to a public right now. No, bro, here's my excuses. Here's my reasons why. You gotta listen to my complaint. You gotta listen to my gripe. If not, it's just gonna get worse with you ignoring it.
Reading me or Michael, he's not reading David. He's not doing any of that. His news comes from social media, and so he has.
And how do you know social media not doing the proper source? You're on social media right now. Fix these solutions. I gave you ample time to fix these solutions. And if you'd have fixed these solutions, you wouldn't have never had to worry about this side not supporting you. But you keep neglecting us, abusing us, talking down on us, denying us of resources and goods, taking what we put money into and giving it to somebody outside the relationship. Don't have nothing to do with this country or the party. You're trying to cater to them and supply their needs when the family at home is starving. The Bible said a man who does not take his care of his own is worse than the infidel. Worse than infidel. And this party is infidelic, so you can't denigrate somebody that's doing the news on social media. You denigrate me right now.
It's a specific point of view and is likely to believe conspiracy theories. The question is, do people who vote, are they on social media or are they on Social Security? I think they're on Social Security.
The problem is that no one's disputing that this government in this country does treat that they treat black men okay, or that we don't have a gripe with either party, right? Because if you talk to black people privately, they will have a gripe with the Democratic Party. The point is, how do you fix it? And why don't you approach that solution the same way you approach the solution with white?
Now the brother's spitting facts. We've gone from a private gripe with the Democratic Party when it comes to black people, and you wonder why black people are maybe sitting it out, maybe on the couch, maybe going to Trump, maybe going to third party, because they tired. They have a right to be tired. They have a right to look for other options. We're not married to you. Fool. That's foolish. That's foolish. Now I'm gonna see if he's gonna say something about Trump, because usually when they talk about what they're not doing, they're gonna start leaning into Trump.
Adapt to that. Don't just assume.
I think we're talking a lot about race, but in many ways, gender is the key variable here, because even if you look at white people, the Republican Party has been getting a higher and higher share of the male vote. The parties have become more gendered overall, and it's true of Hispanics. So what we're seeing among black people is similar to the trends we're seeing.
You think we were, but we're not. I can leave you in the heart. Know why? Because as a girlfriend, you neglect. Imagine if you were my wife.
White women who don't vote Democratic. The white men who don't vote Democratic.
Right.
Hispanics who don't. Why do you take the specific tack for one demographic and not the entire political strategy that you use for everyone else?
I think the answer is what you said a minute ago, which is that Democrats have to get out of the habit of taking the black vote for granted. Yeah, Trump got 19% of black men, 12% of black people last time around. Like, it's gonna be a bigger number this time.
All right, he's right. Stop neglecting. But we've been telling you that for the longest. You should never neglect. You don't neglect other people else, anybody else, but you give them everything. You give them whatever they need to get that vote. But when it comes to us, well, she ain't going nowhere. Man, bro, that woman ain't going nowhere. I'm the best thing that ever happened to her. Yeah, but man, you keep getting Shanice all this, buying her flowers and roses and stuff like that. When the last time you did that with your wife, man? Hush up. Don't talk about me. Yeah, but dude, don't you think she deserved this? She ain't going nowhere.
Well, I think the AP did a poll last month in the middle of the month, and what they found was that the overwhelming majority of black voters, whether they are male or female, favor Kamala Harris over Donald Trump. They had a positive view of her, they had a negative view of him, and there wasn't much difference between men and women. So I think that when we're talking about this, we're talking about people who are loud and wrong. I think that's what's happening, is that we hear these voices, they're very loud, and we think that there are more of them than there are. And we'll see when the election.
All right, guys, we're not done. Got one more video of the CNN panel.
Barack Obama is back on the campaign trail and he's making the case against Donald Trump. But before his guest feature in Pennsylvania, Obama made a surprise visit to Kamala Harris's campaign headquarters in Pittsburgh. It was there that he got candid, maybe a little too candid if you are in the vice president's inner circle tonight. He warned that Harris is underperforming him with black voters, and he had a message specifically for black men.
Now, again, of course you're going to undervote him. She ain't you, man. To me, for a strong, supposedly a strong black man with a high intelligence, Harvard Law School, Law Review, president of that, you expect this lady to have the same numbers as you got. And you're not understanding the different things that's going to stop her from having those. I just explained it in this video, but let this keep playing, okay? But I explained those early in the video.
Part of it makes me think that, well, you just aren't feeling the idea of having a woman as president.
Fucking little bastard!
He does it
again! You dirty bastard, you've done it again!
Where is the card?
Local commentator Errol Lewis is in our fifth seat for this conversation. Errol, I guess he knew the cameras were there. It was an unscheduled stop, but that message was so pointed. In addition to him making it very clear, not doing what she needs to do with this core Democratic constituency.
That's right. Although he is asking her, let's be clear, to go over a very high hurdle. Barack Obama got historic levels of black voter registration and turnout and support, and he did it twice. It was almost inevitable that it was going to.
And he was charismatic, and he was cool, and the campaign was cool, and it was not about red or blue. It was about America. You know, something Trump trying to do, but Trump keep going to the red and blue thing. Trump keep talking about how bad the blue is when he should say, hey, I'm trying to do this for my. That's how Obama was. He wasn't pointing the finger at the red, talking about the red like a dog. Now, he did do that in the second term, but no, hell, it's not a white America. It's not black America. It's the United States of America. It's not red, blue, red, yellow, white, black, or white. They're precious in this sight. This is America. And they had the song with John Legend, and Yes We Can.
Yes, we can to opportunity and prosperity. Yes, we can to opportunity and prosperity.
More like a star-studded Hollywood presentation. Kamala Harris ain't got that. And Obama was cool. He had to walk. And he walked down the street, and they had the white woman crying over him. And, oh, he's a beautiful man. He's so beautiful. And then here's Joe Biden. He's the first clean, articulate, bright, being racist toward him. Oh, Biden.
I'm going to swing more toward the long-term average of a handful of black voters.
Can I interrupt you for just a moment, just to show you something here? Because we went back, looked at 2020 exit polls. Biden got 92% of the black vote. Right now, according to Quinnipiac, this is in Pennsylvania, according to Quinnipiac, Harris is at 78. It's a big gap in this state right now. And that can be closed because Biden is not Barack Obama.
Biden.
Okay, so it was COVID. Biden got those numbers in the exit polls because they scared people. Bad enough, we were already scared with the COVID, but y'all scared people with the Trump bad, Trump fascist, Trump gonna kill you all. Y'all gonna get put back in chains. We gotta defeat Trump, whatever it take. And and still, I don't think these numbers were that high. I'm very fishy on this election. It was a time when people didn't want to go out. So I'm very fishy on these numbers. Very fishy.
Is not on, well, he was Barack Obama's running mate. Certainly some spillover there. But you cannot ask of every black candidate in the post-Obama era, you've got to come up with 92% of the black vote every time. That is just not a reasonable assumption.
Right.
If the margins are
and
as
he needs
tight
to know
as
that.
they're likely to be in this race, that's going to cause you problems in Pittsburgh and in Philadelphia and in Detroit and in Milwaukee and in Atlanta and in all of the swing states. And so they're going to have to come up with a strategy. Now, Barack Obama is trying one strategy, trying to sort of connect with some of the black male voters who they think have been drifting away and are likely to drift away in these last 26 days. I'm not sure that's the right message.
I mean,
but they have to try something.
It's a lot of pressure. I mean, this is not a nice message. This is a very stern message.
Let me ask you a question.
And who gives a crap? It's a very strong message. It's the same message he always talked. The same old bullcrap. Our legacy and state. We got to do. We can't. To make a long story short, this ain't got nothing to do with black people. This ain't got nothing to do with black men. This ain't got nothing to do with really winning the election. This has everything to do with Trump. Barack Obama don't like Trump. And it's very obvious that Trump don't like Barack Obama. Barack Obama had Trump campaign spied.
We know that exculpatory information was withheld from the court. We know, according to Mr. Horowitz, without the Steele dossier, paid for by the Democratic Party, prepared by a former British agent, without that dossier, there would have been no warrant issued against Carter Page. We also now know that an email was doctored to get the FISA warrant by a lawyer at the FBI. So why are we here? We're trying to find out how that happened. We're trying to find out how Crossfire Hurricane got so off script, and our desire is to make sure it never happens again.
Which he should have been charged. Now, they probably did charge him secretly, but he got immunity because he was a sitting president at that time. So the immunity thing go both ways. But that was clearly election interference. That was clearly unconstitutional.
Abby and Nina, let me say, I find it very interesting that we're trying to reach out to white men. We're trying to reach out.
All right, so here we go. White feminists got to interject. They realize the black people have the stronghold in the Democratic Party, and if they wanted to, they can shatter the party. They can crush the party because we are the only ones. We need you black ladies to shh. We need you to work with us to get what we need to be done. Kind of like FDR. Shh, black people, don't be talking about no civil rights. Let me get this done, then I'll holler. It's always, black people, you need to shh. We need to focus on what's over here. That's what she about to do right here. That's what she about to do right here.
We're trying to reach out to white men. We're trying to reach out.
This is not
gonna make it about
nice
white women.
Message. This is a very stern message.
Let me ask you a question, Abby and Nina. Let me say,
No,
I find it very interesting that we're trying to reach out to white men. We're trying to reach out to black men. The people whose rights are really on the ballot right now are women. And we're begging all these men to pay attention to us and to care enough about this election.
What rights you got on the ballot? Well, reproduction rights. Oh, the right to delete your child anytime you want to. The right that if I ever get pregnant from bumping and grinding, I can get rid of the child. You got rights. You got a right to go to get a blue pill. You got a right to get shots in your arms. You got a right to go get you got to get your tubes tied. You got a right to get your tube burned. So there's no such thing as reproductive rights. Is it reproductive rights? Are you really trying to have a right to reproduce, or you want a right to not reproduce? Is it a reproduction rights policy or a non-reproduction rights policy? But that's what the feminists do. They come hijack and want to set themselves at the attention, making it all about them when this whole thing is not about them. Obama not talking to you. He don't need your vote. Now, look, he do need to talk to everybody and leave us alone because we number one, number two. We the top teams to get you the election in the Democratic Party. Without us, you won't have no power. So here she is. This is the example of a minority right here, a white feminist woman who always talk about the neglect of their rights and try to do it above the ones who really get neglected. She is the one that's going to get the funding for the Kamala Harris campaign under the minority policies. The funding for the House first. She'll be able to put up the money. See, most black people won't be able to get $25,000 in order to put down for a down payment to try to apply for a rebate, because that's what it is, a refund or a rebate. But she can get it. She'll put the money up and she'll get the rebate, no problem. My cousin, she tried that, might be a problem, because where the hell am I going to get $25,000 from? Yeah, better get on that pole. Let me stop. Yeah, this white feminist trying to interject. As a white feminist, let me interject in this black male conversation.
To vote, to come out, to support us. I feel like Barack going on the campaign trail right now makes perfect sense, of course, right? He's a top surrogate for Democrats. He should be out there doing the work right now. I think it's so amazing to me that with women's rights on the line, we're spending so much time focusing on making sure men care.
Because men, I don't know, it's because men are the problem right now for Kamala Harris.
They That's not the number one thing on the agenda, lady. That's not the number one issue in America. When it comes to all people, the number one issue isn't abortion, baby deleting. That's not the number one issue in America. Number one issue is the economy. The number two issue is safety. Now, when it comes to black people, the number one issue is tangibles. What you going to do for our community? We need more money in our community. We need reparation. We need a crime bill. We need a whole bunch of stuff. And if you ain't talking our talk, then we're going to turn the other way and walk our walk.
And by the way, Governor Walz, according to Politico, is going to be going out on a men tour, literally a tour of media to appeal to men.
So we gonna send, what's his name? Kerry? What's his name? We gonna send Tim Walz, super simp with the crazy hands. Man, you thought Beto O'Rourke had them crazy hands. This man got some crazy hands. You gonna talk about super simp with his psycho wife? That lady is psycho. You know, I got my little issues with Melania Trump, but that lady is psycho. To do a men's tour? What kind of men's tour? It ain't gonna be no real men's. And look here, buddy. I gotta think about my land. I gotta think about my belongings. I gotta think about my family. And I don't want y'all thinking for my family. Leave my kids alone, get your hands off my kids, and get your hands off my guns. And Tim gonna say, well, I'm a gun owner, and you know, and me and my wife, and my wife said, shut up, Tim, let me talk. I'm talking now, Tim. Yes, honey, it's Tim. He's going on the tour.
They need to appeal to the needs of the voters. And so when I was a delegate for President Obama in both of his elections in Ohio, right now the vice president is down 11 points in Ohio, even though I fully expect President Trump to take Ohio as he did twice, but to be down 11 points compared to President Biden, that is a problem. But this other issue I want to bring up is a problem too. Why are black men being lectured to? Why are black men being belittled in ways that no other voting group?
Well, I'm over here saying amen. Now, look, I've known Nina Turner, and I've never known her personally for a long time, but I've chatted with her. Very smart, intellectual. This is the woman that I wanted to draft to run for office in 2020. You know, after the Bernie thing in 2016, I wanted her to run in 2020. I thought because she opened up for Bernie, she got a nice base that would support her. But when she ran for state senator, U.S. senator, not state senator. She's a former Ohio state senator. But when she ran for U.S. senator, it was black people, James Clyburn, they came down there and picked somebody to run against her, and they swayed the vote to go in the other girl's favor and not Nina's favor. Why? Because the other lady is the Democratic kiss-up. I've done a video about her up there on my channel. She, whatever Obama tell her to do, whatever Joe Biden tell her to do, she's going to be like a willing servant and just do it and be happy to do it. Nina Turner ain't that type of person. Do what? Oh, you want me to do that? Oh, no. That's why Democrats don't like her. That's why she's mostly on these talk shows and not in the Senate today. And I really thought that this lady, out of all the women in politics right now, because she's shades of Shirley Chisholm, this lady had the ability to become the first black female president. Foundational black American sister, married to a police officer, son's a police officer, love her family. But I believe she genuinely loved the country. And she has some conservative in her, and she has some liberalism, and kind of like me. And she always, usually on point when she says certain things like this.
Now, a lot of love for former President Obama, but for him to single out black men is wrong. And some of the black men that I have talked to have their reasons why they want to vote a different way. And even if some of us may not like that, we have to respect it. So unless President Barack Obama is going to go out and lecture every other group of men from other identity groups, my message for Democrats is don't bring it here to black men who, by and large, don't vote much differently from black women. And why?
And that's the whole fact. Obama and everybody else. Black men don't vote that much differently from black women. Matter of fact, it was black men that was the, you know, when you see black men go the other direction, you better go with them. You better go with them because they see something that you don't see. And you can sit there and holler, I don't see it. Girl, I see it. You better follow me. At least you get your tail killed and you're going to say, it's my fault. I remember my girlfriend was telling me, she went to the house and she probably listening. Went to the house. Oh, I ain't got my key. Oh, no problem. I'll walk you to your brother's house and I'm going to go home. Why? Why we can't just sit in the park? Why we can't sit in the park? I'm tired. I want to go home. It's okay. I love you. I'm going to walk you to your brother's house. I ain't going to my brother's house. I don't want to bother my brother. I'm staying in the park. All right. Good night. You ain't going to stay here with me? I'm tired. I'm going home. You can walk with me. I'll walk you to your brother's house. I'm not going. You're trying to force me to stay with you in a situation that I don't want to be in. You're trying to force me into staying into something that I don't appreciate. It's 2 o'clock in the morning. We sitting in the park in Brooklyn, 2 o'clock in the morning. It's not safe for you or me. But because I love me more than I love you, because I love you, but I love me more than you, I'm going to walk you to your brother's house. If you decide to stay, that's on you. But I ain't dying for you. I love you. But you ain't at that point down willing to die. And I'm not going to die foolishness for you. I'm not going to sit there with you and go antagonize somebody who got their gun out trying to rob somebody. I'm not going to do that. And crazy for you to make me do that. That's crazy for you to try to have me sit in the park with you this time of night. Go to your brother's house.
As a politician, we should be trying to get all voters to vote. And hopefully there are a few good men out there who do care about the stripping away of some of women's bodily autonomy.
Some.
But this is wrong for President Obama. It is a wrong course for the Harris-Walz campaign to lay at the feet of black men when they have their reasons. In 2020, the vice president was labeled a cop, as we know.
Do you think, sorry to interrupt you, Nina, but do you think he's right that one of the reasons is because they don't like the idea of a woman?
It might be some, listen, black men are socialized in the same society.
No, that's the reason you want to put out there in the forefront. And they figure if Barack Obama put that in the forefront, he must knows. Because he's not talking about any other reason why they're not. He's not inquiring about it. He's not talking about it. He's going to make that the reason why they're not voting. They hate women. He's going to make it the reason why black men is not voting for black women because, no, we're not voting because we see what's coming. And we don't want that. So we have to turn another direction and go another direction. And the woman can come with me or not. You come with me to your brother's house or stay your butt right here in this park. But it's not dangerous. It's dangerous to do that for me. It's dangerous to do that for you. You're trying to put us in a dangerous situation, and I don't appreciate that, girl. Carry your butt over to your brother's house, but get off these streets 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm getting the hell off these streets. And that's the same thing over here. You're trying to make it seem like that no, that's not it. But they're trying to put it out there. That's why she's talking about it. And I'm here to tell you, it's not because we don't like women to be in position of power. Because you look at the woman that you're looking at right now, young lady, that's a black woman of power. That is a strong black. And I believe she will have the best interests of our community. Now, can she be influenced by the party? Probably can. But she prides herself on being a maverick in the Democratic Party. An unbought, unpurchased, not sellable black politician that she served the people. Now, the problem is she's one who'll serve all people servants when, again, it's us that's going to put her in power. It's us that's going to go out and put her up the top. So she need to be dedicated to us first. We're not going to let you spin this narrative that black men don't want a woman in power, because she's a perfect example of a woman in power. She would have made a good president. Now, I'm not a Stacey Abrams fan. I don't think she would have made a superstar president, but she would have been a better president than Kamala Harris and a whole lot of other people that was running.
As any other man. So yes, is misogyny may be a part of it, but again, is President Obama and is the Harris-Walz campaign going to lecture other male groups in the same way that they're lecturing
This is not just about.
Look at her.
It's not just about Pennsylvania. It's not just about men. It sounds like there's a concern that there's a broad problem for Vice President Harris with the blue wall. It's basically, according to the poll of polls, no clear leader, a tied race essentially in all 3 of these battleground states.
When you see CNN poll of polls, that's a CNN poll. No, Donald Trump winning. He's really winning, not her. When their polls got him this close, you better believe his number's way bigger than that. And that's why Barack Obama and all them are in panic mode right now.
I know that this is because Trump has run a great campaign, but I mean,
I don't think it's that.
I mean, maybe he has, maybe he hasn't.
Hey, maybe he has, maybe he hasn't. Trump have his campaign. He talk about the issues. He asks people what they want, some of you guys won't even go to a campaign. So when people run for office, I go to everybody campaign. I go hear what they got to say. I don't do this bull crap, I'm not in the cult, so I can go check and see the message of anybody. So I've been to a Trump rally. I've been to a Harris rally. I've been to Joe Biden rally. I'll go to rallies. And so far, at the time I went to a Trump rally, wasn't a bunch of racism going on in that rally. I mean, people just hanging out their way. Probably was some racists in there, just like it could have been some racists in the Democratic Party. It's a lot of racist Democrats. You do know that. You do know that. Oh, you got to know that. I've done many videos on people being racist toward people who were in the Democratic Party and decided to go independent or run in the Republican Party. Oh, the racism came. Oh, man, horrible. Oh, their mouth was worse than Trump.
But he has struggled.
Oh, yeah, the meeting. So Trump normally goes over there. Normally have some people do some speech from the area, or he has some politician that's running in the area that he endorsed. And then he'll come and do a stump speech, Agenda 45, we got to do this, we got to do that, we got to, and then that's it. Then they'll have a question and answer session. So they have a moderator and the person go around asking questions from the people in the audience, and he answers a question like a town hall. So he turned a rally into the town hall all together, which I think is a good idea. I think all people running for office on both sides should have their stump speech and also stop and take questions from the people and hear the needs from the people, because they're not doing that over in Harris.
Against Kamala Harris in this early stage, but he's still kept this race pretty tight and maybe has made some inroads in the last couple of weeks.
Absolutely he has. Vice President Harris's high water mark was about a week and a half after the convention. It's slowly been trickling down. That Quinnipiac poll showing the vice president down in Michigan and Wisconsin sent alarm bells throughout every Democrat office in the country. But I want to say this, the blue wall is cracking, and black men are just one part of a broader puzzle that she hasn't been able to reach. Now, to her credit, she hasn't been running for very long. This campaign's new. This is a new experiment of replacing somebody late in the cycle. So,
yeah, and that's true. I'll be honest about that. It's hard to get, on a short period of time, it's hard to get quick momentum. But sometimes, short period of time is the best way to get quick momentum, But Trump been campaigning way before her, longer than her. Trump started campaigning the moment he didn't win. He started campaigning. He wasn't not on the campaign trail. And I think Trump actually liked being out there campaigning. Don't pay, bruh. Don't pay unless you're taking an offering plate. It doesn't pay. So he's longer. So if she would have had an amount of time, she would have been able to craft the message right, being a little more smart with crafting her message. She would have been able to do that. But because this is short, she wasn't able to do it. And she can't take Biden's message. But to be fair, if she'd have had more time, she would have been able to craft her policies, craft a message, and just stick with it and stay on that stump. And hey, ask some questions from the audience and don't run away from it, But it seemed like the more she talked, the more people are turned out, because it's the same old message. No real concrete policies coming out of her mouth. Ideas, but no real concrete policy.
Okay, we'll give her that. However, with union voters, the two of the biggest unions ever didn't endorse her. She's struggling with Muslim Americans in Michigan, according to CARE's own numbers. She's struggling with Hispanics in California. She's not expected to
So how come Obama didn't go to the two unions that decided not to support either candidate? You know why those unions decided not to support any candidate public? Because when they did their internal voting, most of the people that work in that union, the workers of the union, probably went the other way, probably went toward Trump, and they couldn't have that being blasted all over the internet. But we already heard about the UAW workers, or the Teamsters, overall Teamster, supported Trump. Now you got some local chapters that AOC like to tout. See, that local Teamster, local 101, they support Kamala Harris. That's nothing compared to the national. TWU, one of my favorite unions, they have Local 100. But Local 100, they can endorse Biden. But if international and vote Trump, forget about it. And a couple things he was saying, that and something else he was saying got in the way of her numbers.
California. She's not expected to remake Americans in Michigan, according to CARE's own numbers. She's struggling.
Oh yeah, the Arabs in Michigan, they are real. The Palestinians are really serious about this. Hey, we're not gonna vote for you because you don't care about. You're not trying to stop this genocide. And since you're not trying to stop the genocide, I'm gonna have to replace you to put somebody into place to stop the genocide. Well, Donald Trump ain't stopping the genocide either. Donald is pro-Israel as they come. Look, I look, as a Christian, I recognize and give reverence to the country of Israel and the people of Israel. But that government is something else, a whole different beast.
With Hispanics in California. She's not expected to remake the Obama coalition.
She can't.
That's impossible. That's a 1 in a million,
Yeah.
especially given the short time frame.
Yes.
But she has a lot of bigger problems, and that's why you see Tammy Baldwin panicking about
Yeah.
being down more.
Here's Debbie Dingle. People need to see the real Kamala Harris.
They
This is what
see
she
the
told
real Kamala
Axios.
Harris.
They need to let her get in the union halls and just talk to people. Whatever you think about Trump, he's personable.
She already doing that. She's being personable, and it don't go well because she's not a personable person. She is a choleric. That is her personality trait. She is not a sanguine. She is not melancholy. She is choleric. She's dominant. She like to control the situation. She like to put forward things. She's not good. I don't see how Doug handled, but Doug might be, hey, simps like cholerics. Simps submit to choleric. I found myself in the simping phase. Fell in love with my second wife. She's a former cop. Very choleric, very dominant. I'm the simp. But I was always trying to be romantic to her instead of, every now and then I'm going to have to set you straight. You ain't having that here, lady, woman. We ain't having that. The hell is wrong with you? See, I wouldn't do that. Oh, that's okay, baby. I got it. Oh, no, don't worry about it. Sit. Oh, yeah. No, I got it, baby. Go ahead. You need me to rub your shoulder? Want to rub your head? No. Hell no, I'm not doing that. I'm tired. You ain't gonna watch it? I mean, one time I did that. You gonna mow the yard? Nah, I'm tired. I'm not mowing the yard today. Well, I need this yard more. Being dominant. Well, I'm not. So she goes out there with my tank top on, no bra on, doing the Miss Parker thing. Boy, they got me out that house real quick. I realized that was a method of control. But let me get back to this.
Well, I think that's one of the things. I mean, he obviously, from 2016 all the way through 2020, now through 2024, he comes off as a fighter. He comes off as a fighter for whatever issue matters to you. I think that's one of his big appeals. One of the challenges, I think, for the vice president's campaign is that I don't think Barack Obama is the right surrogate to go out there and do it. No, now, he's beloved by Democrats. He's beloved generally by Americans. But he's never had coattail.
Right.
Aside from 2008, when he first got elected, Democrats lost more than 1,000 seats in state and federal offices during his 8 years.
While he was in office.
He was the sitting president when Donald Trump won Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin with Barack Obama campaigning in Michigan and in Pennsylvania. And it didn't change the narrative. So I just don't know if he has the coattails. He'll fire up the base, but is he going to get anybody new to come out and vote?
The other mistake that they're making is focusing too much on personality. I mean, Kamala Harris has got an appealing personality, and we're all
no, the hell she don't, dude. Stop with the lie. Stop with the lie. Stop with the lie. Well, she got a personality with certain people. Now, let me go back and say that she has a personality, but it's more like Christie from Three's Company. That's her personality. She can go from choleric to that's it. She's mostly choleric. She has a personality, but it's mostly choleric. Every now and then she can get a little funny, get it laughing, giggling, and stuff like that. But that's the side when she turned into Chrissy from Three's Company. And if you don't know who Christy is, she can get a little ditzy, little sometimes. She'll dip into intelligence on certain matters, but it has to be when it comes to her being more in her prosecutor police mode, she can go into some brains over there. But when it comes to her trying to be normal, she become Chrissy from Three's Company.
This is the incumbent party. She was part of an administration. They have a decent record to run on. You could say to black men, for example, $7 billion for historically black colleges and universities. We've done certain things. We've had
That don't help. The streets. And that money has to be given because Trump already signed the order for a certain time period. That money goes there. That's not something that you implemented. That's something that was already implemented for a certain period of time. Now you can extend it, but that's still something Trump did. Like him or love him, Trump signed off for that. He may not came up with the funding and the policy to get it all going, but the go-ahead came Trump, and it came from Trump for quite a long to come.
An economy where we've had not one, not two, but over 36 record highs in the stock market this year. If you've got a retirement account,
we don't
that is
have
helping
stock.
You can go out and explain these things.
So you can explain that to nobody. The amount of people that have stock are low in the black community, very low. Now some of us getting a little day trading things like that, penny stocks and things like that, but that still don't apply, George. That would not rile up the base, dude.
Or you can sort of say, well, let's try and segment this personality, and we're all getting to know her. But this is the incumbent party. She was part of an administration. They have a decent record to run on. You could say to black men, for example, $7 billion for historically black colleges and universities.
Yeah,
We've done certain things helping you. You can go out and explain these things here. If you've got a retirement account, that is helping you. You can go out and explain these things, or you can sort of say, well, let's try and segment this.
There you go. There you have it. It was pretty long. We went a long time on here with 3 hours. The other one at least an hour. But yeah, we went through this, went through the basics. So the bottom line is you can't scold us if you never took time to listen to us. Take your finger pointing.
Turn that sumbitch sideways and stick it straight up. You're getting it.
Kamala Harris, you don't have your charisma. She don't even have your marketing strategy for winning an election. She don't have the ability to convince the delegates. She didn't have to. It was you that forced Joe Biden out, you in Hollywood, and the cutting off the funding. That paved the way for her to get in. Very undemocratic. Nobody voted for her. Her name was not at the top of the ticket, and people, it's not Democrat. That's actually totalitarian. You put in who you want to run. Now, the delegates agreed to it because that's what they do. They fall in line because they're in the cold. But the people did not vote for her as the top person on the ticket. She was handed that position. That's not democracy. Reason black men are not going for her is because it wasn't just her. From a while back, since we started seeing some direction that you guys was going with your policy, and we wasn't feeling it. We warned you, and we told you, okay, all right, you need to start doing something for us. We done for you now. Time for you to do for us. Now, forget you. We ain't doing it. Look, catch me in the next 4 years. Vote for me again in the next 4 years. I got you. We still gave you the benefit of the doubt and nothing. So now we're dipping in more because we come to find that you guys are light, and you love to put people in a position where they're submissive to you, and you love to beat on them, chastise them if they're not going along with your program. And when black men said, hey, I'm going to be doing the beating now. I'm out here. I'm out the party. Or I'm not going to be following the party lead. I'm still in the party, but I'm going a different direction. Got people like, I expect my family to come, but I'm not going to drag them, because if I drag them, you're going to say something about that. So I'll let them finally see what I see. It may take a while, but they'll see and come. And that's what's happened. Black women to this state now are starting to peel away from the black vote. It's not the black voters' fault. It's Barack Obama's fault and the rest of the predecessors after. So Barack Obama didn't do what he needed to do to lock in the black vote for life. So even LBJ said, look, if I do this for black people, I have them voting Democratic for a long, long time. But I got to do something for them. And he did. And we've been voting for Democrats all this time. You better take his advice. The black community has needs. We're willing to give you our needs. Once you start fulfilling those needs and you make it a high priority to fulfill those needs, you ain't got to worry about it. Not only will you get, and y'all continue that cycle, not only will you continue to get us in the high 90s, but you'll start to attract other people. Other segments of society will get their voting game up because they see that voting in high levels will bring you tangible. But the nerves of you to neglect the people who bring you in high level and give tangibles to someone else, and you ask us, what's going on? Why my numbers are not up like mine? You must hate black women. Negro, if you don't sit your behind down. No, it's you. It started with you. And you're right now driving black men to the man who you don't want to be in office because it's an embarrassment to you. Trump is your joke. You may be Batman, but Trump is your joke. You're nothing without Trump. Nothing. You need him. You hate him just like Batman hate. You'll fight him just like Batman fight the Joker. But you guys are two and separate. You're destined to be enemy. But you're making the enemy out of the people who put you in the office. You're looking at the wrong people. Get your act together, Barack Obama, because what you just did recently was the same thing you've done in the past. Your attitude toward black people at that NAACP, that Black Caucus event, well, it's gonna be a legacy. If you if you guys don't mind, protect mine, please mine. I call it an personal insult. That turned us off. A lot of people didn't vote. Well, the fact that you're just a woman, and that's unacceptable. This woman, like your mother, grandma, that's insult. Guess what? You may have just called Kamala Harris the election and put in position the man to win the whole thing, Donald Trump. I'll at you later. I'm Bobby Brown with the Bobby Brown Show. Like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell right here. Love you guys. Peace.
No.